He closed his eyes, held the lance close to his chest, and forcibly opened my clenched right hand. I sat inside the column and looked at him, amused. This is the hand of more than one woman. He looked up at me as if he had found out some lie. I can feel the touch of two women. Holding the lance close to his chest, he asked, "Who is the other woman?" I opened the hand wide. The palm with 5 fingers looked like a big spider. I extended my fingers and touched his beard. I touched his cheeks and the bushy eyebrows. He started. I pulled my hand away. "Who is it?" he said. "Who all?" "Not an old woman," he said. "Not young either." "Right," I said. "Aged 40 or 45, a fair-skinned woman whose tresses reach well below her knees, married at 14, a mother at 15, a widow at 17, a grandmother at 37. The exorcist called his assistants. When they were discussing the next rite, I went to my hanging cot. As I sat on it, I saw the lake again. The old lake. Gusts of wind came up the steps and dropped down heavy upon the hanging cot, freshly bathed in the lake, laden with wet bundles of washclothes. The hanging cot rocked. Creak, creak, creak. They pulled at the border of my white silk sari just the way they used to tug gaily at grandmother's neriatu, with narrow patterns on its border. Grandma lay upon the cot, her face away from the door, off the portico, with her right hand hanging and blood oozing from her mouth. I cried, sitting with my back to the half wall, wearing nothing but my white petticoat. My eyes were on Grandma's belly. A terrible worry gripped me, whether that thing still moved in her belly. People stood around the portico and its steps, arguing whether Grandma had a heart attack or not, and whether she needed a post-mortem or not. As I sat with my eyes open, Grandmother opened her eyes, still lying on the cot. Not bothering to wipe the blood that had trickled out of the corner of her mouth like saliva, she smiled at me. As I stared back, unable to blink, something like a calf leaped up in her belly. They took her to be bathed in the lake. I followed them, weeping. They drew greenish water from the lake and poured it in pitchers on her body. The blood in the corner of her mouth flowed down with the water. The lake had offered her water. Grandma repaid that loan with her blood. I watched with my mouth open. The water from the lake returned to it as blood. I have never been able to cry since then. "What should we offer you to leave this body?" the youthful exorcist asked. I shook my loosened hair and laughed at him. His blood flowing down my forehead was creeping close to my lips. Maybe it will stick to my cheeks like dried up saliva. As I was thinking of ways of returning to him the blood I had taken from him, the night queens burst into bloom outside. This is the hour in which the heavy night winds come up from the lake. The wind will be ever so slightly moist. The leaves of the jackfruit tree fall off aroused. Scent and touch guide the little bats. They make their way through the dark and press their lips on golden mangoes. No, won't leave. Grandma won't leave. She will gently walk up here, in her black stripe-bordered mundu, her neriatu carelessly thrown over her shoulders, her red-colored blouse, and the streak of sacred ash on her forehead. The knee-length hair will roll down her back and be tied at the tip. Grandma will come and sit on the hanging cot. The red sindoor from the goddess's temple will shine within the sacred ash streak like Shiva's third eye. The hanging cot rocked slowly. Creak, creak. Grandma will tell me the story of little Krishna. They lay her on a stunningly green banana leaf. On the side they lit a brass lamp. Grandma filled the space of the leaf. A red butterfly flew in, mistaking the single wick in the coconut shell placed just behind her head for a flower. It circled me and landed on Grandma's lips. Then it dropped down into the coconut shell. The red wings melted into the golden flame. That looked like the blood of the flame. Anyhow, nothing has ever made me sad after that. "What should we offer you to leave this body?" The young man who was the exorcist looked into my eyes. I gently rocked upon Grandma's hanging cot, not paying attention to him. There was plenty of moonlight too, the night Grandma died. The moonlight was the color of milk. This moonlight is the milk that has been split from the milk pitcher in the sky, Grandma said. The flowers of the night and the moths are so white because the milk fell on them, she had said. Who split the pitcher of milk? Little Krishna, Grandma said. She told me stories of mischievous little Krishna who broke the milk pot in the hanging basket and sucked the milk from the udders of cows. I heard the tinkle of Krishna's anklets. I breathed in the scent of fresh milk. Tell me, the exorcist pulled out his cane. Leave this body at once. I looked at him laughingly. He's good, this chap. A young fellow. If his hair was combed and put up with a peacock feather, he would be Krishna truly. Grandma was alone on her pyre. The chopped up branches of the mango tree were the same color as her body. They lay her flat on it. Right before my eyes, Grandma gently turned and lay on her side. That is how she lay when she told me stories. She opened her eyes and looked at me as if to begin one. When the fire leapt up, her eyes were open. I saw her gaze through the fire. It did not burn. I lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes, terrible sights lay in wait. Grandma's gaze followed me, remained fixed on me. It had not burned or crumbled. I could never love anyone again. Tell me, what should we offer you to leave this body? The exorcist was begging now. I looked at him. He's quite nice, this chap. He should be given a flute, not this cane. Cows, not assistants. It would be a lovely sight to see the cows shake their bells and graze on the banks of the lake. After that night's puja, I massaged my body with karpuradi oil and bathed. When he lay down to rest after that night's puja, I cast my spell. I drew him to the hanging cot. The night queens were blooming wild then. A furious wind blew. Somewhere, someone split a fresh pitcher of milk. The moonlight milk flowed down. The scent of fresh milk filled the air. The hanging cot rocked. Creak, creak. If necessary, I will retell the story of Krishna, who first sucked the milk and then the blood to the dregs. Grandma's death was unnatural. Mine will be unnatural too. I too will lie on my side on the hanging cot, rocking creak, creak, my hair loose. The blood that I owe him too will be on my lips, sticking to them like dried up saliva.